I was grinding coffee beans in our Austin condo, the machine's low buzz cutting through the morning quiet, when Emily stormed into the kitchen like a Category 5 hurricane. No, hey, Jake. No, good morning. Just her voice, sharp and accusing, slicing the air. You didn't get the almond milk I asked for. Again. Do I have to do everything myself? Her tone was pure venom, like I'd personally sabotaged her Pinterest perfect life. I set the carafe down, slow and deliberate, and turned to face her. She stood there, arms crossed, blonde hair yanked back in a tight ponytail, green eyes narrowed like she was daring me to screw this up. I said, calm but with a steel edge, you're not my boss. Ask like a partner, not a drill sergeant. Or, yeah, go get it yourself. Her lips twitched into that half sneer she always pulled when she didn't get her way. Oh, here we go, she muttered, quieter now, snatching her phone off the counter like the conversation was already a waste of her time. She spun on her heel and stormed out, the front door slamming so hard the windows rattled. That wasn't just about almond milk. It was the spark that lit up everything we'd been dodging for months. I wasn't pissed, not yet, but I was done playing her game. She wants to run the show? Let's see how she likes it when I stop taking her cues. I'm Jake, 32, project manager at a tech startup in Austin. Decent gig, solid pay, enough to keep our condo humming, the F-150 gassed up, and the bills paid without blinking. Emily's a freelance graphic designer, which sounds cool until you realize it means she works when the mood strikes and expects the world to orbit her schedule. We'd been married 5 years, and somewhere along the line, our partnership turned into me jumping through her hoops while she graded my performance. That morning, I didn't text an apology or chase her down like I might have a year ago. I poured my coffee, black, no sugar, and thought, if she's gonna treat me like hired help, she's about to learn I don't work for free. I grabbed my gym bag and headed out to clear my head with some iron. The day was mine, and I wasn't wasting it on her tantrum. A few days later, Emily cranked up the pressure, like she sensed I wasn't folding anymore. Wednesday night, I got home late. Client meetings had me running from downtown to South Austin, and my brain was fried from juggling deadlines. I walked into the living room, dropped my keys on the counter, and there she was, sprawled on the couch, scrolling Instagram with a half-empty kombucha bottle sweating on the coffee table. You didn't take the trash out, she said, not looking up, her voice flat but loaded, like she was setting a trap. I opened the fridge, grabbed a soda, and leaned against the counter, keeping my cool. Yeah, and you didn't say welcome home, I said, my tone light but pointed. Guess we're both dropping the ball, huh? She sat up, tossing her phone down, her eyes locking on me with that irritated glint. Jake, I'm serious, she said, louder now, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I asked you to do one thing. Is it that hard? I took a sip, held her gaze, and said, and I asked you to stop talking to me like I'm your intern. You want the trash out? Ask like we're on the same team. Or, take it out yourself. You've got 2 hands, Em. Her face went pink, and she stood up, hands on her hips. Oh, so now you're keeping score? She snapped, her voice rising. Real mature, Jake. I'm drowning in work, and you can't even handle the basics. I didn't flinch, just leaned back against the counter, soda in hand. Not keeping score, I said, voice steady. Just pointing out facts. You're drowning? I've been working 12-hour days to keep this place running while you're finding your creative flow. You want to talk basics? Let's start with respect. Her mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping for air. You're throwing money in my face now, she said, quieter but venomous, stepping closer. That's low, even for you. Not throwing anything, I said, setting my soda down and crossing my arms. Just saying, if you're gonna come at me like I owe you, maybe check the ledger. You want a maid? Hire one. I'm your husband, not your servant. I walked past her to the bedroom, feeling her stare burn into my back. She's not used to me pushing back. Good. Let her stew. She didn't follow, didn't say another word. The silence was louder than any argument. I changed into sweats, grabbed my laptop, and started catching up on work emails. If she wanted to sulk, that was her problem, not mine. The next week, Emily tried a new angle. It was a Tuesday evening, and I was in the kitchen chopping vegetables for a stir-fry, trying to keep some normalcy. She came home, heels clicking, purse slung over her shoulder, and dropped it on the counter with a thud. I saw this amazing handbag at Nordstrom, she said, her voice casual but pointed, like she was testing the waters. It's only $400. Can you cover it? I'm short this month. I kept chopping, didn't look up. Only $400. I said, my voice calm but sharp. You know I'm not your ATM. You want a bag? Use your card. Or maybe skip a few of those girls' nights and save up. She froze, her hands on her hips. Are you serious right now? She said, her voice rising with irritation. It's for work, Jake. I need to look professional for client meetings. I set the knife down, turned to face her, and leaned against the counter. Professional, I said, my tone even but firm. You mean like how you've been blowing off deadlines to go out with Lauren? I'm not bankrolling your shopping spree. We split everything now, bills, bags, all of it. Fair's fair. Her eyes widened, like she couldn't believe I was drawing a line. You're being so petty, she snapped, her voice shaky now. It's just a bag. Petty, I said, crossing my arms. Nah, I'm being clear. You've been dropping demands like I'm on your payroll. I've been carrying this house while you play diva. Time to balance the books. I grabbed my soda and headed to the garage, leaving her standing there, fuming. She thinks she can guilt me into compliance? Not anymore. The following Friday, I tried to hit reset, figuring maybe we could dial it back. I was at the kitchen table, eating toast, when I said, Hey, wanna grab tacos at Torchy's tonight? Like old times. My tone was casual, an olive branch. She didn't look up from her phone, just snorted. I'm tired, Jake, she said, her voice all dismissal, like I was a kid asking for a second scoop of ice cream. Why don't you do something useful for once? I laughed, couldn't help it. Useful? Like what, Running your errands? Or maybe I should build you a throne. I leaned back in my chair, watching her face tighten, her fingers pausing on her phone. God, you're so dramatic, she snapped, finally looking at me, her eyes flashing. I just need a break. Is that too much to ask? Nope, I said, standing up and grabbing my coffee mug. You want a break? Take all the space you need. I'm not your punching bag. I headed out to meet my buddy Mike at the gym, thinking, she wants space? I'll give her a whole damn galaxy. Mike's a contractor, big guy with a beard like a lumberjack and zero filter. We were chugging protein shakes after a brutal deadlift session when I filled him in on Emily's latest, trash, handbags, the works. He shook his head, laughing. Bro, she's testing you. My ex pulled the same crap. Push, 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 see if you crack. You gotta hold the line. Here's what I did. I stopped doing anything she didn't ask for directly. No assumptions, no extras. Made her spell it out. Flipped the script, she hated it. Next time she pulls some passive-aggressive stunt, call it out on the spot. Name the game, and she'll fold. I grinned, leaning back. Name the game, huh? I like that. No more guessing her moves. Exactly, Mike said, pointing at me. She wants something? Make her say it. And if she's playing dirty, you walk. You're worth more than her tantrums. Mike's advice was gold, not rocket science, but practical. Name the game. All right. You want to play? Let's make it explicit. I started applying it. No more assuming her needs. No more jumping to fix her problems. If she wanted something, she'd have to ask like an adult. And if she didn't, I wasn't lifting a finger. A week later, Emily pulled another stunt. She decided to host a girls' night at our condo. Lauren, a couple of her artsy friends, and Sarah, who was too nice to say no. I was in the garage, tinkering with a bookshelf I'd been building, when I heard them cackling in the living room. The walls are thin, and Lauren's voice carries like a megaphone. I caught her mid-sentence. Jake's been such a grump lately. Emily, you sure you can't trade him in for a better model? The group laughed, loud and sharp. I stepped into the living room, leaning against the doorway, soda in hand. Trade me in, I said, my voice calm but with a razor's edge. Lauren, you're still leasing Greg, so maybe don't give out relationship advice. The room went quiet. Sarah stifled a laugh, covering her mouth. Lauren's face went red, and Emily shot up from the couch, her eyes flashing. Jake, that was uncalled for, she said, her voice loud with irritation. We're just having fun. Fun, I said, taking a sip and holding her gaze. Sounds like you're workshopping insults. If you've got something to say, say it to my face. I'm right here. One of her friends, some new girl named Tara, piped up, her voice all fake sympathy. Oh, Come on, Jake, don't be so sensitive. It's just girl talk. I didn't break eye contact with Emily. Girl talk's fine, I said, my tone steady. But when it's about me, in my house, while I'm 10 feet away, that's not talk, that's a performance. I'm not your audience. I turned and walked back to the garage, leaving them in stunned silence. She wants to play mean girl? She's gonna need a new stage. The next Sunday, we had dinner with Emily's brother, Ryan, at his place in Round Rock. Ryan's a laid-back mechanic, always tinkering with cars, and we'd always gotten along. Emily was quieter than usual, picking at her food, while Ryan grilled me about work. After dinner, while Emily was in the kitchen helping his wife, Ryan pulled me aside on the porch. Man, what's up with you and Em? He said, his voice low, concerned. She's been complaining you're distant. But I saw how she talks to you at Sarah's barbecue. Gotta say, I don't blame you for pushing back. I leaned against the railing, sipping a soda. Appreciate it, Ryan, I said, keeping it light. She's been treating me like her errand boy. I'm done with it. He nodded, like he'd seen it coming. She's always been like that, bossy since we were kids. But you're solid, man. Don't let her run you over. His words weren't a revelation, but they hit. Even her own brother sees it. That's all I need to know. It wasn't about validation, it was about clarity. I wasn't the one losing the plot here. The next Monday, I was at the office, going over project timelines with my colleague Tom, when he leaned back in his chair and said, "You seem different lately, man. Calmer, like you're carrying less weight." He nodded at my hand. "No ring, huh?" I glanced at my finger, still bare, and shrugged. "Yeah," I said, keeping it light. "Decided to travel light for a while." He nodded, like he got it without needing the details. "Respect," he said, his voice low. "Saw you at Sarah's barbecue. You shut Lauren down like a pro. Emily's been parading you around like a prop lately. Everyone's noticed. You're better than that." That hit me. Not hard, just true. He's right. I'm not her prop anymore. It wasn't some grand epiphany, but it locked in my resolve. No going back. The next Tuesday, Emily pulled a stunt that pushed it too far. I was in the living room, catching up on emails, when my phone pinged, an Instagram notification. Emily had posted a story, her and Lauren at a downtown bar, all dolled up, laughing, clinking glasses. Her left hand was front and center, no ring, flashing like a middle finger. The caption read, "Living my best life." I didn't bite, not like she wanted. Instead, I screenshotted it, saved it, and waited. She got home around midnight, heels clicking, still buzzing from her night out. "Have fun," I said, not looking up from my laptop, my voice flat. She froze, then laughed, too loud. "Yeah, it was great," she said, her tone all fake cheer. "You should try going out sometime, Jake. Might do you good." I closed my laptop, leaned back, and looked at her. "Looked like you were having a blast," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "No ring, huh? Guess it's easier to live your best life without it." Her face went pale, then red. "It's just a picture," she said, her voice shaky now. "You're making a big deal out of nothing." "Nah," I said, standing up and grabbing my soda. "You made it a big deal when you posted it for the world to see. You want to play games? Play solo." I walked to the bedroom, leaving her standing there, her confidence crumbling. She thought she could bait me with that post. Wrong move. The real climax came 2 weeks later, at Sarah's barbecue in Hyde Park. Sarah's a chill high school teacher, and her backyard was packed. Kids running around, music thumping, the smell of burgers on the grill. Emily's crew was there. Lauren, her husband Greg, a finance bro who always backed her play, and their nosy neighbor Karen, who loved gossip like it was her job. Mike, Tom, and a few others from my circle were there too, keeping it light. I was at the grill, flipping burgers, joking with Mike and Tom, when Lauren sauntered over, all fake smiles and loud enough for the whole yard to hear. "Jake, you're so domestic," she said, her voice dripping with condescension, like I was a trained dog. "Does Emily ever let you out of the kitchen?" The backyard went quiet. Conversation stopped. Heads turned. I could feel Emily watching from a lawn chair across the yard, sipping a soda, waiting to see if I'd take the bait. I flipped a burger, didn't break eye contact with Lauren, and said, "Only when I'm done cleaning up her messes. You know how it is, some people need a lot of maintenance." My tone was light, but the jab landed like a dart. Mike snorted, and Tom gave a low chuckle. "Sarah, standing nearby with a tray of buns, raised an eyebrow and smirked. Lauren's smile froze, but she recovered fast, tossing her hair. "Wow, Jake, touchy much?" she said, her voice all fake sweetness. "Nah," I said, handing the spatula to Mike and wiping my hands on a towel. "Just allergic to nonsense. You want a burger, or you just here to talk smack?" Greg piped up from a nearby table, his voice loud and smug. "Chill, man, she's just joking. No need to get all defensive." I turned, soda in hand, and gave him a look, calm but cold. "Joking's fine, Greg," I said, my voice steady. "But when your wife's taking shots at me in front of everyone, I'm not gonna smile and eat it. You cool with her joking about you like that?" Greg's face went red, and he mumbled something into his drink. Karen let out a loud, "Ooh, burn," and laughed, clearly loving the drama. Sarah shot her a look like, "Not now," but the crowd was split. Mike and Tom were grinning, clearly on my side. Lauren's friends were whispering, shooting me glares, and Emily was stone-faced, her lips pressed thin. Emily stood up, walked over, and said, loud enough for everyone, "Jake, can you not make a scene for once?" Her voice was tight, with a hint of embarrassment. I didn't blink. "A scene," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "Your friend threw the first punch, Em. I'm just not in the mood to be your piñata." I turned back to the grill, flipping another burger, and the party slowly picked back up, but the air was charged. She wants to play victim in front of her crowd? Fine, but I'm not her prop. The ring thing was the final straw, a Friday 2 weeks later. I got home from work, high off closing a major client deal that had been in the works for months. I was ready to crash with a cold soda and some Netflix. Then I saw it. Her wedding ring, sitting on the dining table like it was part of the decor. No note, no explanation, just the ring, glinting under the kitchen light. My gut didn't twist, my heart didn't race. I just looked at it and thought, all right, Em, you want to play dirty? Game on. She came out of the bedroom a few minutes later, heels clicking, dressed to kill, tight black dress, hair curled, makeup on point. She didn't even glance at me. "Going out with the girls," she said, casual as hell, grabbing her purse. "Don't wait up." I picked up her ring, walked over, and held it out to her. "You forgot something," I said, voice flat, but with a razor's edge. She glanced at it, then at me, and gave this fake little laugh, like I was being ridiculous. "I left it on purpose," she said, her tone all breezy confidence. "It's more convenient this way." I didn't blink, didn't smile, just pulled my own ring off, set it on the table next to hers, and said, "Couldn't agree more. Anything that's inconvenient, I cut it out of my life." I turned and walked to the garage, leaving her standing there, her mouth half open, her confidence cracking like cheap glass. I didn't look back. Didn't need to. The silence was louder than any slam of the door. She thought she could drop a bomb and walk away. Nah, I'm the one setting the terms now. She started blowing up my phone the next day. Texts at first. "Jake, what the hell?" I didn't mean it like that. Then calls, voicemails, her voice softer, almost desperate. "I was just mad, okay? I was stressed. The ring doesn't mean anything. Can we talk? I'll fix this. Let's start over." I let her stew for a day, then texted back. "You didn't change, Em. You just ran out of people to play with." Short, cold, done. Monday, she cornered me in the kitchen when I got home from work. She was waiting, sitting at the table, her hands folded like she'd rehearsed this. "Jake, I'm sorry," she said, her voice low, almost shaky. "I've been a mess. Work's been crazy, and I took it out on you. I didn't mean to leave the ring. Can we just start fresh?" I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, and looked at her. Her eyes were pleading, but I wasn't buying it. "Start fresh," I said, my voice calm but hard. "Em, you don't get to hit reset after treating me like your personal assistant for months. You left your ring on the table like it was a post-it note. You posted that Instagram stunt to rub it in my face. Those aren't mood swings, those are choices." Her face crumpled, but she rallied fast. "I was upset," she said, her voice rising. "You've been so distant, Jake. You're always at the gym or with Mike. What am I supposed to do?" I laughed, short and sharp. "Distant? Em, I asked you to dinner 2 weeks ago, and you told me to do something useful. You want me around? Act like it. But don't expect me to beg for your attention." She stood up, her chair scraping the floor. "You're twisting this," she shouted. I'm trying to fix things, and you're just cold. Cold, I said, stepping closer, my voice low and steady. Nah, I'm clear. You want a doormat? Find someone else. I'm done playing your games. I walked past her to the bedroom, leaving her standing there, her breath hitching like she was about to cry. Tears won't fix this. Actions might have, but she's out of chances. The divorce was clean and fast. I took what was mine, laptop, TV, my savings, the F-150 I'd been paying off. She got her makeup, the coffee maker, and a condo full of empty promises. I didn't fight dirty. I didn't need to. Her own choices had already sunk her. 6 weeks later, I ran into her at a coffee shop downtown. I was grabbing a latte with Mike, mid-conversation about a new client project, when Emily walked in. She looked rough, less polished, dark circles under her eyes, like sleep wasn't her friend anymore. She saw me, hesitated, then walked over, clutching her purse like a lifeline. Jake, she said, her voice soft, almost breaking. Can we talk? Please. I leaned back in my chair, coffee in hand, and gave her a look. Not angry, just done. What's there to talk about, Em? I said, calm but firm. You made your choices. I made mine. She bit her lip, her eyes welling up, and stepped closer, her voice desperate. I messed up, Jake. I know I did. I was stressed, I was stupid. I miss you. I miss us. I'll put the ring back on. I'll do better. Can we just try again? She reached into her purse, pulling out her ring, holding it like an offering. I took a sip, let the silence hang for a beat. Try again, I said, my voice low and razor sharp. Em, if you want a doormat, start shopping. This model's off the shelf. I held her gaze, letting the words cut deep. You wanted your best life. You got it. Enjoy. Her eyes spilled over, but I didn't flinch. She nodded, barely, and walked out, her heels clicking softer this time. Mike raised his glass. To freedom, man. To clarity, I said, clinking his glass. Now, life's good. I've got my routine, gym at 6, work by 8, beers with Mike and Tom on Fridays, tinkering in my garage on weekends. My new place is mine, clean lines, no clutter, just the way I like it. No one's barking orders or leaving rings on tables. I choose what stays and what goes, and it's only what I want. No ultimatums, no tests, no drama.